Hello, spooky friends, and welcome to the Three Twisted Sisters, hosted by Britt.
Kayla.
And Alexandra.
And on today's episode, we are going to be talking about a twisted topic, which is ghost hunting.
Woo!
Oh boy. So,
Oh boy.
This is probably my favorite. No, I'm not going to say my favorite, but it is one of my favorite topics to talk about.
I couldn't tell.
If anyone has ever met me in person, you know that this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. Sorry, take it away.
it is a topic to me that is pretty fun and exciting. I definitely grew up watching. First was Ghost Hunters. That was all we had at the time, as far as paranormal reality TV went.
Until 2008, when
Yes.
who graced our screens?
Mr. Zaddy. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah. Ghost Adventures was definitely like one of my go-to shows on the weekends, weeknights. I was obsessed with it forever and ever and ever. And I still watch it. They have evolved too. Because I know.
Okay, so Zach Bagans gets a lot of slack from the
Yeah.
paranormal community. We hear it. We hear you guys.
How
We
much
believe
slack?
you. We so much slack. He is very theatrical. And we can relate to that because we were theater kids.
Yeah, we were
Don't hate
theater
us.
kids for 4 years. So,
Yeah, so
you know.
we respect the theatrics. I will say that as an elder ghost hunter, an elder ghost hunter, I don't use the same techniques they use. Okay, I don't use the same techniques Zach uses. I never
Okay, so I've never seen either one. So like what technique does he use?
He's just he comes out the gate like very aggressive. Wouldn't you say?
Fuck you, ghost.
Yeah.
Seriously?
In the beginning they would go into
so
places
bad.
and they would like
They would
purposely try to anger or
to
like
get a reaction.
yes,
That's kind
to
of
get the footage. So they were just like, no, we're gonna go into these places and do this because we want the evidence. Nowadays they do it in a safer way. They do a lot more protection and stuff like that. There are times, and I call it like, sorry, I'm adjusting my headphones. I call it like a slip up where they say things like, you can use my energy. That's a slip up, I feel.
Yeah.
Only just because I have done that myself. I have said those exact same words myself. So, and I think it's just a slip up. It just, oh shit, I said something.
Yeah, you have to be there's very particular. If you're wanting to get into ghost hunting or if you've done it for a while and you're like, man, I'm bringing a lot of stuff home. Like, this is really dangerous.
And just to kind of get on that little sprinkle, our next topic would be the do's and don'ts of ghost hunting.
Yes.
If you're interested in this hobby or you just kind of are curious as to what the do's and don'ts could be, Kayla, take it away.
I will gladly take it away. I am in no means an expert. I have a very bad habit of getting too attached when it comes to paranormal places that we've investigated and the spirits that inhabit those places. And I have been known to accidentally bring them home with me. So as a teenager, because Brittany and I started ghost hunting when we were like 16. Really
10 years ago?
17.
Older than 10 years ago. But really, we started even earlier, but in our house. And I brought some fun stuff. So, a plain deck of cards. What's so simple about a plain deck of cards? Now, I've talked about this before. You can use a plain deck of cards as a divination tool to communicate with spirits. You have to be careful. There are some serious do's and don'ts when it comes to communicating with spirits. You need to make sure that you have protection on your side. And no, I don't mean a condom, but that's always important too.
You want your spiritual condoms in here.
You need it. you need to make sure that you are incredibly grounded, that you are solid in your body and your mind and your soul, that everything is protected, everything is grounded, because it's very easy to let a spirit come in and influence your energy and just kind of take over. And you don't ever want to give up control when you're in this kind of a investigation. But you can use a deck of cards to communicate with them. Red means yes, black means no, black means yes, red means no, whatever it is. And you can just pull the cards as you're communicating with them. Okay, so if you're going to be using a deck of cards to try to communicate with spirit, you also want to have a good amount of white candles on your side. I have like 3 or 4 racks of these, and they are open. I use them quite regularly. But what we did as, young teenagers, we lit a few white candles, trying to be like, oh, safe. And we started pulling cards and asking questions. And it got very intense. I don't know if you remember, Brittany. We were physically attacked. Bruises happened. Closet doors were shaking. We were freaked out, and we did the stupidest thing ever to close out. We just went, leave us alone. So that's not a proper way to close out any kind of communication with spirit world. You have to be very meticulous when you are ending your talk. But the problem is that a lot of like tweens and teens and even late teens and early 20s people that get into this, they get freaked out when scary stuff starts happening and they just want to end it. The problem is if you don't close out properly, they're not going to go away. So you can end up having an attachment to you for years and years and years and years unless you get it, cut. Or they can just be hanging around and just yucky. So in our instance, we had a very negative spirit that did physically attack us, and it was really horrible, and she did stick around for a long time. We ended up moving from that house, and we used a protection prayer to what we were assuming was to kind of banish her. But the problem is we didn't know how to banish a spirit. So we used a prayer that kept her locked in a room in the house. So she was locked in one of the rooms of the house. And every time you went in that room afterwards, it was not good. We all just kind of avoided that room until we moved a couple months later. Now, the interesting thing is that that house has never been occupied for longer than a few months since, like 15 years.
Since we caused all of this.
Yeah, so be very, very careful. So that is one divination tool. You can also use recorders that does note the energy fluctuations, so you can visibly see when you are communicating or you think you're communicating with a spirit if there's any electromagnetic field interference, or changes in it. So you can visibly see them. You always want to have a tape recorder. This has some good stuff on it when I'll try to download it and share it, but it's some good voices that we've caught on there. You always want to record everything. Never delete your footage. That's like the biggest thing the biggest piece of advice I can give you is record everything and go back over it meticulously. I think this is the second time I've said this in this episode. It is so important to record everything and then review it. That's amazing. But you can use a lot of different tools to communicate with spirits. All that I ask is that you do ground yourself, that you do prayers of protection, that you never say, you can use my energy. You can come home with me. You can take the energy from my devices. I know a lot of people do that. They will drain the batteries on your cameras, your lights, your recorders. It will happen very quickly, and then you'll miss the opportunity to catch some really sick shit. Be very respectful always, but the most important thing is to always have fun, because it is so much fun. And yes, there are times where it is spooky and scary, and when it's really dark in a room and then something flies across the room. It's insane.
She lives for it.
I live for it. I love it.
She's like, fucking throw it again.
Throw it again. Yeah, in a really not crazy way. I do. I love it. I think it's amazing to be able to see energy moving something after it's passed on. It just is the most amazing thing ever to me.
Yeah.
So I love it. I will say, be very careful with the types of divination tools you use. I do have, I have like tarot cards. I always have crystals with me. Different crystals mean different things. So if you want crystals that'll help protect you, we can definitely do a whole episode on that as well. Use white candles when you're wanting to cleanse a space. White candles can be used for a lot of things, but definitely cleanse your space. Depending on your culture, use certain types of sage or Palo Santo to cleanse an area. There are tools that I will never use. One right off the top of my head, I will never use a Ouija board. My mother used one when she was a teenager. She used it twice and had very bad experiences. And she told me and Brittany that it was forbidden. We were not allowed to use them. I'm not going to talk crap about Ouija boards. They can be very dangerous.
So instead, we grabbed a deck of cards,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
Instead, we found another way.
Yeah.
Communicating with them, whatever divination tool you use, is dangerous. It can be dangerous. And it's all the same shit. Oops, sorry, Marvel. But me personally, because my mom forbid it, I will not use it. A lot of people give Ouija boards a lot of slack, but there's better ways that you can use them. You can use them in positive ways. But I personally will never use one. Have any of us ever used a Ouija board?
Nah, fam.
I already know the answer.
Yes, I have. Okay.
Wait, was that before or after I told you not to?
Somewhere in the middle.
Convenient.
Oh,
Convenient timing.
Oh, so yeah, I have used a Ouija board. And this was pre-understanding how to properly use one.
Mm-hmm.
And I made one. That's the first time I used it. And
well, okay, explain how you made it. And I just want to say that she was telling me this not before you made it. You told me after, and I was like, "What are you thinking?"
The piece of paper.
You don't know.
Yeah. So how long ago was
Google.
this, Alex?
Oh, like 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So how did you make it?
Piece of paper and aluminum foil as my pointer.
Gotcha. Your planchette.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it was great, and it stayed on my kitchen table for like at least a week till I was like, I'm gonna throw it away.
How did you dispose of it?
It's just like garbage. Okay, so destroyed, right? And then like within a week, the person that I was seeing at the time like buys me a Ouija board.
Ugh.
And I was like, well, why would you do
hate
this?
That guy.
And he was like, what? It's a funny joke. I'm like, this isn't a joke. And I had it in my house for like a good maybe like two months. Like a good 2 months. And like I'm telling you right now, I didn't have it stored properly. I didn't have it in a very good location. And
well, okay, for our viewers out there that don't know this, where can you buy a Ouija board?
Barnes & Noble.
Wow. Target. Walmart. And where are they at usually?
Kids section.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what are the ages on it? Do you know?
Probably like, I think 5 and up or 8 and up.
I think it's 8 and up.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure because I've never bought one. But there you go, people. They're selling Ouija boards as toys to your children.
Yeah.
Only
They've
yours.
They've been doing that for like 60 years.
Yeah.
They're intense though. Like the energy in my place when I had it was not nice because it's a portal if it's not stored properly.
Where are you supposed to store it?
Okay, so you're supposed to store the pointer in a cloth bag, right?
Does it come with one?
I don't remember, but you're supposed to put it in a cloth bag. And you're supposed to take it away from the board.
Oh, that makes sense.
How you talk.
That makes sense.
And
otherwise, it's like, well, I'm just gonna open myself up and then come on through.
Yeah, and then the game, you're supposed to put it somewhere where like is very like you can't see it, like hidden. I had mine just with my other games.
The Grinch game?
Yeah.
The Grinch game that we play is tainted with the Ouija?
I didn't have the Grinch game yet. I got the Grinch game 2021 December.
Okay.
So you're
2021 December.
December of 2021.
So right now we have all of our game boards stored in the same area in our little game area. So all of the not the Grinch one obviously, but the ones that you had at that time were all stored with the Ouija.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing that we cleanse regularly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or do we?
But fun fact, the Ouija's been around for 125 years.
Wow.
I can't even believe. I would assume it's been longer.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool.
And back 1886, is that 120 years ago?
Don't make me do math. Here we go with numbers again.
140.
Oh. Okay, so the Ouija board's actually been around since like 1886.
Oh, wow.
Where was it made?
So, there's a kind of a story of how it was made. So, there's this one businessman named Charles Kennard who was actually a very unlucky business guy with all his other endeavors before. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he's had like many businesses and they kind of like flopped. But then when one of his businesses flopped, he was like living across a hallway from this Persian guy named A.C. Ritchie. And he was like a coffin maker. He was like a furniture maker. Weird
woodworking, if you
will. Yeah, they all kind of had to do with woodworking. And at the time that he was living across the hallway from
they're
him,
like, he was a carpenter, but he made coffin.
He made one coffin, okay, guys? One! Oh my god, it was one time!
All right, so these two guys lived across each other in this hallway. And then this weird, like, massive spread throughout Ohio. Yeah, Ohio. With these talking boards began, right? And that's what Ouija boards were called before. They were called talking boards. So they started to make their own talking boards together.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, which I thought was pretty cool. Which I thought was super cool. So then Kennard went out searching for like people to help manufacture it, like on a mass spread, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And he like was just getting a bunch of like no's, right? And eventually he met this attorney named Elijah Bond, who had a sister-in-law.
James Bond.
He had a sister-in-law who was like a medium, who said like she could communicate or talk to the other realm, right? So they had her test out the board to like see if it was like working.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Her name was Helen Peters.
Whoa.
And she actually has a big part to do in it, why it's like it is what it is in stores now, and like kind of a legitimacy behind it, especially through the federal government. Like she was part of the reason why I was like, oh, like, yeah, this is like something that you can manufacture.
Whew.
And she also, to the U.S. Patent Board, was the reason why like they're like, okay, like, yeah, she's actually saying true to what is going on with the board.
Whoa. Okay.
And so then the Kennard Novelty Company helped manufacture it, which was actually pretty cool. And she was also the one who kind of gave the Ouija board its name, because the Ouija board was like telling it what it was.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Creepy.
Mm-hmm.
So like all the little stipulations behind it, like how to store it, all that stuff, did that come from her asking?
That I'm not sure of. That's just like the origin. I think as we evolved as humans, we figured out good practices.
Right.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah. That's freaky.
Creepy.
There are a lot of positive ways to use a Ouija board. There are.
Are there? What are they?
There's
Don't
none.
ask me. I didn't do the research on it.
There's none. So yeah, there is certain like good practices that you can do, so it's not such a like traumatizing experience. But some of the things that you would want to do is use it in like a safe place for you. It could be like going to a park or going by a body of water, somewhere where you like it's peaceful for you,
like your sacred spot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but you don't want to use it at home.
Right.
That's like a big like don't do that. And you also want to cleanse it. Like you do want to cleanse it before you use it. You want to let the smoke cover the entire board and the pointer, and you want to have like some nice crystals out to kind of help with the cleansing of it, quartz to be exact. And you also want to light a black candle. So if there's like is any lingering bad energy, the candle absorbs it.
So what do you light? What smoke are you saying to cover it all the way in?
Oh, like the sage.
Okay.
Like sage,
Yeah.
Palo Santo, incense,
Just
doing a
cigarette.
smoke cleanse. Yeah.
A joint, casual.
Yeah.
Just a joint. And you even want to go as far as
Burnt
cleansing
popcorn.
yourself.
Just kidding.
You want to go as far as cleansing yourself?
Yeah, like you want
Okay.
to cleanse yourself. And
Serious time, Brittany.
anyone that you're with too, you want to cleanse them.
Mm.
Okay.
And you want to avoid being sick or like not in a good mental headspace, so you're not like attracting that energy
And more susceptible and vulnerable to it.
Mm-hmm. And you never want to do it by yourself. You should do it in a group, or at least 3 people. But the way that you want to use it is in a group. You can do it in 3. In this case, we're going to do it in 4, so you guys have like an idea. But one person is the one that is reading what is on the board. So like they're channeling their energy to focus on what is being said. And then the other 2 people are also touching the pointer, and they're channeling their energy to be able to connect to the spirit world. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then one person is recording everything, either like recording it or like writing it.
Okay.
Yeah. And like there's a certain telltale signs that you know that you're dealing with a bad spirit, because the board will start like counting down. So like if you go from like the numbers all the way down, like that's by the time that it gets to like 0, they're gonna like come out. So you want to stop the game before that.
Yikes.
Like you want to
There's
say,
so
like,
many rules already. I'm like, we need a whole protection team. We need
yeah, like you want to like say like, oh, thanks for chit chatting, but like goodbye, and then remove it, store it. Yeah. And then there's another one, like if you start seeing a figure 8, that means like that's a dark entity as well. Same thing with the alphabet going the opposite way. And
That's interesting, because a lot of mediums believe that everything in the spirit world is backwards. It's like mirrored, almost like the upside down. It's mirrored from what this world is. So it makes sense that if it's something negative, it's like
yeah,
10, 9, 8.
What if it was like a race car driver spirit, and they're like,
no.
man, that countdown, 10, 9, 8.
Oh my god! But wouldn't it go the
Or a
opposite way for them?
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
And then when you see it going to like each corner, once it gets to the last corner, like it's gonna come out. Yeah. And it's like you gotta stop those as soon as possible, or as soon as you feel it being like a dark presence, like you're like, okay, like thanks for chatting, like goodbye. Yeah, very interesting.
You used it. Do you remember it counting down or doing anything like that?
No, not really.
Did you use the toy one, like the real one?
Not really. Like I took it out to like play with it, but like I didn't do any of the stuff that you're supposed to. And I was just like joking with it. I was like, "Can you hear me?" Yes.
Respect. Being respectful when you're trying to connect is most important.
Yeah.
You can have fun with it, because it is so much fun. I mean, I'm not talking about Ouija boards. I'm talking about ghosts. Investigating in general is really fun. But yeah, definitely be respectful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alex.
Sorry. I'm not the only one that hasn't been respectful.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Brittany.
not.
Brittany is probably, I mean, she's respectful.
I'm just
But-
a little bit. I'm a little bit
Just like a little bit
reckless.
Like,
you.
how many times does it take before you start implementing some of the things that you're supposed to do?
What do you? What do you?
What do I
you
mean?
mean?
Let's start with
Suicide Bridge?
Suicide Bridge.
Okay. So my topic for today is the Colorado Street Bridge. It is also known by a nickname. First and foremost, I want to issue. I would like to issue a trigger warning because this topic for discussion does involve suicide. The nickname of this particular bridge is Suicide Bridge. So I wanted to issue a trigger warning because mental health fucking matters. And I have the suicide hotline phone number, which is 800-273-8255. Also, you can text 988 to get any sort of assistance, mental health assistance, because it matters. Your mental health fucking matters. Alrighty, so my topic today is the Colorado Street Bridge located in Pasadena, California. Now, it was constructed in July of 1912, and it was meant to aid in a safe journey across the canyon below, which is called the Arroyo Seco Canyon. Don't judge my non-Spanish accent, people.
I'm judging.
sorry.
Judge.
I'm
Don't
so
worry.
sorry. So, beforehand, before this bridge was constructed or even thought to have been constructed, the crossing was extremely dangerous. Think like horses and wagons, how dangerous it would be to get cut across a canyon to get to the other side. So, as I said, this bridge was constructed in July of 1912 by a firm from Kansas City, Missouri, called the J.A.L. Wade firm. Now,
Okay, wait a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so we grew up just outside of Kansas City. I mean, St. Joseph is just outside of Kansas City, Missouri. And the Ouija board thing
From Ohio.
from Ohio, and you grew
Yeah,
up
I
in
grew
Ohio.
up there.
Oh! I just find that interesting.
Alrighty, so I did say that this bridge was beautifully decorated, and it absolutely was. It has large, ornate lamp posts, a small.
You are so grainy right now. You can't even really see you.
Okay, you need to leave this space a little bit. Thank you. You are not allowed to be in here.
So, a fun fact, we have gone investigating at Suicide Bridge a lot, and there's one spirit in particular that loves Brittany. And if you notice, now she's clear. When you talk about spirit and they come around, you'll notice funky things like that.
That's so crazy.
That is, yeah.
You just got so clear.
So, like I said, the bridge itself is very decorated and very beautiful, quote unquote. To me, it actually has a haunting vibe. If you don't fucking say. No, it just has like an eerie look to it. But the bridge itself is decorated with ornate, tall lamp posts, cement carved, beautiful railings, even what are they called? Little alcove benches every couple sets. And the bridge itself, curved along the bottom side of it, are bow arches, which are like that traditional, here's a bridge, here's a little bink-a-dink underneath. So the bridge itself is not a straight bridge either. It curves a little bit to, I guess when they were having construction, it's essentially a riverbed underneath a dried riverbed. So the ground itself wasn't super strong to hold the bridge's platform. So they curved it around the canyon to make construction easier. So this historic bridge was actually a part of the historical Route 66 from the years 1926 to 1940. Unfortunately, along the way, this bridge's nickname is Suicide Bridge. Now, it's been a little over 100 years since this bridge was constructed. Over 150 suicides have taken place on this said bridge. A big chunk of the number of suicides were around 50 during the Great Depression years. Now, this bridge itself, the railings, I want to say like the first constructed railings, were about 3 feet tall. I'm not even fucking kidding. To the point where we'll share an image of the bridge in early years where there's a child's head and the railing comes right to its eye line. It's not very tall.
And the thing is underneath it, there's some like trees and brush, but most of it is concrete.
Yes, they poured wet, quick dry cement down there, and it's solid to say the least. Now, one of the first recorded deaths at this bridge was and now I've read from a couple of different sources that there was one worker, there were multiple workers, there were different occasions. This happened more than once. For sure, there is at least one death on record of a bridge worker who was working above the wet cement, quick dry cement that they were pouring on the bottom. Somehow fell off of their the scaffolding that they were working on head first into the wet cement. Now, instead of trying to save this worker and pull him out in the nick of time, maybe he's not dead from this fall. Instead, they left him and let him sink, get covered in the quick dry cement. Now it is extremely hard to pull someone out of cement, but just saying. At least one record of a man who is forever a part of the construction of this bridge. Okay?
But people saw it happen?
Yeah, it was during like a work
during
day.
work.
And no one was like, hey, let's pull him out. Let's try.
I think they probably talked about it.
Yeah, they assumed his fate was already sealed, especially not to mention that the cement was pouring and it was happening so quickly, and it was quick dry cement. So this man, like, it was a race against the clock, but they assumed that his fate had already been sealed.
That would be a terrible way to die.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, you're being crushed.
And then buried on top of you.
And suffocated.
Yeah.
And suffocated.
Yeah.
I would hope that the fall, if he landed head first, if it was a great enough fall, you're kaput.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Hopefully you went into like a cardiac arrest before he hit the ground from so much shock.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so we're going to talk about one of the most discussed suicides that took place on this bridge, and we're going to go back to May 1st, 1937. Now, this is the height of the Great Depression. Things are not looking good economically across America. Young mother Myrtle Ward, she and her husband, they had a tumultuous marriage as far as finances and priorities went. Now, Myrtle herself had fallen in love with a job that she had, and her husband actually had her quit her job, her place of work, because he had a dream of becoming a famous musician. Now, this is crazy to me. Like, you are in the Great Depression time, dude, and you're going to have your wife quit her paying job for you to follow a dream. Like, that just is wild to me. Anyway, so young Myrtle, it's months and months of mental torment over the fact that she left something that she loved and cared about so much. And her husband was kind of doing his own thing. So this particular day, he had actually left Myrtle and their young 3-year-old daughter and she was extremely distraught. She had already been going through a lot of mental anguish the last few months, and she took a stroll with her daughter to Colorado Street Bridge. And despite onlookers' cries and pleas for her to stop, for her to get back over the railing, she threw her 3-year-old daughter over the bridge and then threw herself. Crazy enough, her daughter survives. Her 3-year-old daughter survives.
What? Like, how do you survive that?
Okay, so according to kind of like the path of tossing, for lack of a better word, she was thrown in such a way that the trees and brush below the bridge actually saved her life. So her mother actually jumped straight out and landed right in that concrete, gigantic wash of concrete underneath the bridge. So her young daughter, I'm not going to name her name just because I know that she did survive and I don't want to, she's living her life. Hopefully it was a good one. She unfortunately suffered from a broken back, but she survived, which is just miraculous, and it's beautiful. That out of such a tragedy, something beautiful, like thank God she lived, came out of it. I will say that in 1993, now this is literally 80-ish years after this fucking bridge was built, but okay. They decide to let's refurbish this fridge. Just kidding. Let's clean the bridge up. Let's put suicide guardrails, if you will, up over the bridge, and let's cut down on the amount of people who are coming here to end their lives. I mean, about damn time, but 80 years, almost exactly 80 years later, really?
That's a long time.
Not to mention, like I fucking said earlier, the railings that were installed were like 3 feet high. So we're saying all you'd have to do is literally walk into the middle and bend over, and, there you go. Like, anyway, 1993 comes, they put on the suicide railings, and unfortunately, it has not deterred many people. It's just an extra precaution. Now, the rate of suicides for this particular spot are relatively high still. Like I said, suicide hotline 800-273-8255, or the text message is
988.
thank you, 988. Mental health is important. Mental health matters so much. Little ghosties that are seen around this area and what kind of drew us to this spot as teenagers. Alrighty, so Myrtle is often put into this spiritual woman's box as far as labeled who she is. There's also a man who is seen who often approaches visitors and or anybody visiting the bridge itself with thin wire rimmed glasses. Older gentleman comes up to them and he's heard whispering to himself, "It's her fault. It's her fault. It's her fault." Yeah. So let me get into, so that's kind of like the history. I wanted to discuss Myrtle because I have actually personally interacted with her. Now, when I was about 17, 18, we were in the thick of ghost hunting, and I just did a simple Google search, haunted places in Southern California. Now, Suicide Bridge popped up, and it was in Pasadena, and I happened to adore Pasadena. It was one of like the more like shishi areas of the town, and I really, liked that area a lot. So we all kind of convinced our friends to make a trip, and we had our equipment, i.e., a little camera from our film class in high school.
So, along with being theater geeks, we were also president and vice president of our film club, which gave us the opportunity to take home a lot of our filming equipment, well, all of our filming equipment, and was really dangerous for us because I won't say we, I constantly used it as an excuse to ditch school and go
Oh, I
ghost
did too. Are
hunting.
you kidding? Well, we would just ditch
Oh.
class like, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Teacher. I got to go film
We have a
this.
note. We had like a pack of passes that were pre-signed from our film club teacher so that we could go ditch class at any time when we had a creative idea pop in to go film. Yeah, this is all a very, very, very true story.
That's
this happened.
so crazy.
Yeah, it
I
was
loved
not
that teacher,
good.
though.
Do not ditch school. But we had a blast doing it, and we had the ability to film all of our cool locations. We'll try to find some of the footage on our old hard drives.
We do
Because
have
it's
them.
really-
I came across them recently.
Yeah, which is great because we thought that they were gone
Yeah.
forever. So it's cool
Yeah.
that we still have some of them, and we'll try to play some of them, maybe on like our Instagram and stuff, and check it out. But yeah, we had the ability and all of the equipment to go
And do the
film.
things that we watched Zach Bagel Bites do for
Yeah.
years. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
So we all jump in the car, we pile in Kayla and I's car, actually, and we make our way down to Pasadena. Now we get there and we did say like little blessings and little prayers. That was one thing we were good. We would do an opening prayer and a closing prayer, but that was about the best.
And we asked
know.
permission.
Yeah.
We were like, if you're okay with us being here, please come forward, and we want to talk to you. We want to communicate with you. We have cameras. We explained everything, which is very important because some of them have never seen technology and they're like, the hell is that? So we were very respectful in that manner, but we did things that were just stupid on our part to
a little bit dangerous.
attachment.
Yeah. I remember saying specifically, I want to help you. You can use my energy. I want to talk with you. I want to help you. And that was like the most ridiculous thing I could have ever said, knowing now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
So after?
Let me tell you. So this bridge, like I said, it's 1,500 feet long. Now, I don't know how long is a mile. How long is a mile? 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So walking this guy twice is like half a mile long. So it's really not that long. Okay. Good. It felt so fucking long for my weak ass legs.
The crazy thing is when we first stepped foot on the bridge, I'm taking over your story. I don't want to.
Yeah,
but
you are. I'm just kidding.
You feel like you're walking.
You literally feel like you're walking through Times Square.
Like Times Square. Like we finished each other's sentences.
Sandwiches.
Yeah.
No, like I'm not kidding. Like this bridge, we would go there both times we went. It was at night. And so you're walking this lit, like eerie atmosphere. It's like foggy, misty, like a little bit of rain, but it's not really rain, but enough that if you wear glasses, you can't fucking see shit, like that kind of vibe. Not to mention it was a little chilly outside. And the lampposts. Like just the look of the bridge itself at night is enough to send a chill down your spine.
It's a beautiful historic bridge. It really is. And it has a lot of, all of it is still, as old as it was when it was built. But it feels crowded when there's no one there. It's very strange, the amount of energy on the top of the bridge.
Yeah.
Don't even talk about the bottom of the bridge yet, but go ahead.
Ew. Okay, so we're walking across the bridge. We're going at a really like slow pace, and two of us are in the front. One of us is holding a camera, and you can see like an apparition on the camera of an apparition running, probably like, I don't know math, like a couple 100 feet ahead of us, and then stopping, turning, and waiting us to get to a certain point. Well, we didn't realize this until the time we got to the end of the bridge, that it disappeared at the middle part, which is the tallest point. It's whatever, it's the jumping zone, basically. And so we're walking, we're shuffling, we're all saying like the energy here, the crowdedness, you're feeling like you're bumping into people like you're in Times Square or something like that. It's a lot like that kind of vibe. So we get to the very end of the bridge, and at this point I need to leave. Like I have it in my bones. I need to fucking get out of here. And I started panicking to the point where I was like, we need to go now. We need to go now. Like I'm not going underneath this bridge. I'm going back across it to the car so we can leave. Like I was getting very scared. Was that the point when you went underneath it?
Mm-hmm. So there's stairs from the driving part of the bridge where we were walking on top of it, and then you get to the end of it and there's stairs that lead down to the concrete in the street below it.
Yeah.
So me and the other two people we were with wanted to investigate underneath the bridge as well. We were very drawn to it. Brittany was very against it, and she refused to go under the bridge. And again, this is like, when you think of like the things you did as teenagers, like this was very late at night in Pasadena,
Reckless as
California.
hell.
Yeah, Pasadena, California. We're going underneath the bridge, and there's like woods and there's like brush underneath the bridge and trees, and we're like, we're totally fine. Everything's totally safe. We're just gonna take this camera and go under it.
What'd you tell your parents you were doing?
We told them exactly what we were doing.
Oh, and they was like, see you later.
They were like, be careful, don't bring anything back. And we were like, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so underneath the bridge, Brittany didn't want to go. So me and our other two friends went under the bridge, and I'm not going to say it was like this evil, terrifying feeling. It was scary, but again, it was the middle of the night. We were teenagers and we were walking in the brush under a bridge. So that in itself was just creepy, but the feeling itself was just sad, like overwhelmingly sad, and heavy. Yeah, it was. You were there, but no,
the bridge was heavy for sure.
The bridge was, yeah. It was just very sad, and I think we caught like a couple of voices, but other than that, we didn't catch much, and it was just like, we don't want to be here. Like, let's just go. Let's go back on the top and let's skedat out of here. So that was kind of the underneath the bridge. Some people that I know that have investigated there, they find completely different feelings under the bridge. They find positive feelings or anything like that. So I think it really just depends on you as a person and what you experience that day. But I wouldn't want to go back under it. But
yeah,
that was just kind of my thing. Was I was like, this is really sad. I'm good.
You know what's crazy? You guys did this at like 16.
Yeah, I was 16.
Like, that's wild.
Yeah,
I was 16.
Yeah, I was. Brittany was.
I was.
Yeah.
No, I was definitely 18. I think could have gone to jail. For sure.
Well, the thing is now as we're adults and law-abiding citizens, if you are going to go ghost hunting, make sure you get permission to go to the place that you're going to. A place like Suicide Bridge, I mean, it's a public bridge, and as far as I know, there's no limitations as to what you can and cannot do recording wise on there. I mean, don't like shoot something nasty on there, but as far as ghost hunting, a lot of people investigate that bridge, and that's a public place. Now, if it's a private place, if it's an abandoned place, try and make sure that you get all the proper approvals before you actually go and investigate.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
my advice. Yeah.
Exactly. So they make it back up. All I can remember, Kayla and our friend are behind us. Me and my friend are in the front, leading the way. So I'm walking on the inside of the bridge because not only does it have sidewalks for you to walk on, where the edges, where the little alcoves you can sit, the railings and all that jazz, there's traffic going.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like constant or anything like that. On our way down the bridge, we stopped in a couple of the alcoves I don't know if that's even the right word. Alcove.
Yeah, like
With
one of the
bench.
benches. Yeah.
Yeah.
It works.
If it's not, correct me. I'll take it. But we had stopped at several of those and had like little EVP sessions, if you will.
And then we also had like a digital camera that we were taking still pictures with. Now, a lot of the still pictures looked like they had orbs in them, but again, there's these huge lights that are lining the bridge. So we kind of debunked it as that's probably from the light. We're not
just a light anomaly. Could be a bug, could be dust, could be car, you don't know. We're walking the length of the bridge back. And mind you, I have said things like, I want to help you. I'm here if you want to talk. Use my energy.
There you go. Well, one of the places we stopped to do an EVP session, Brittany, out of nowhere, just goes, "You can use my energy to communicate if you want. Please use my energy." And we were like, "What?" Like, oh my gosh! So someone did.
She certainly did.
Certainly did.
Get out from under the bridge like the trolls that they were. We're in our line together. I'm like, y'all, we need to get the fuck out of here. And I'm walking super fast. I'm practically like walking, watching my feet in front of me, but I'm cupping my hand around my eyes. So I'm walking back as fast as I can, tugging my friend along, and I have my hands cupped around my eyes so I can't see anything in my peripherals. At one point, and I'm like, I keep hearing this voice or getting this urge. Just look, just look, just look.
Like look over the edge?
No, just like
look to the edge.
Oh, anyway. You look.
Yeah, I'm avoiding this part. I'm just kidding. So I'm holding my hands cupped around my eyes. I'm making it to where I can't see out of my peripherals. I've got blinders on practically. Rushing as fast as I can. Everybody else is like, yo, what is your fucking problem? Like, what is happening? Anyway, I'm getting this voice in my head saying, look over, just look. So I slowly take down my right hand. Okay. So as I'm taking my hand down, my right hand, sorry. As I'm taking my right hand down, I peek over with one of my other eyeballs with
How many eyeballs you got, Brittany?
Just tell the story. What happened?
As soon as I move my hand down, I look to the right and I see a woman in a long white gown with longish brown hair falling on me. And as clear and solid as day, I saw her, and her arms were like outstretched, falling, okay? Her arms are like slow motion, and she hits me, and I let out this blood-curdling scream, and I hit into my friend. Everything is being filmed as far as like we were holding the camera in the front of the pack. The guys behind us, Kayla and our friend.
We have a camera also.
Yeah, so.
And the thing is that we all four heard her scream. Like outwardly a loud, terrified scream.
Blood curdling. I felt it coming out of my throat. See this woman coming on. I was scared, it was startling. And I let out this like blood curdling scream, could feel it in my throat even after.
In our footage, we were like, what the hell happened?
We have to review this right now.
So we start going back, and my camera that we're holding from the back shows Brittany kind of look and then silence and just like and then they fell into each other.
You can't hear the scream in any of the recordings.
Mm-mm.
You couldn't hear the scream.
So the only thing that we could come up with was when she fell on Brittany, it was like two dimensions were like masking into each other, and it just masked the scream. It was wild. That was one of the many wild recordings that we have where we all audibly hear her scream. I mean, our friend was right next to her and was like, Jesus, she screamed really loud.
We almost just fell into the street.
Yeah, and we were all like, "Oh my gosh, let's see if we caught the lady." Like from my point of view, like let's see. No woman, no scream.
And Kaylin, our friend, are doing like a closeout prayer, like our final thoughts, like, take care, whatever. And then I get the urge to take more stills. So as I'm taking stills, I'm holding the camera out, and as soon as I go to take the picture, do you remember how digital cameras would like show you what your picture looked like before returning to normal? Like for like 5 seconds, it would be like, this is your picture. And then it's like you can take a picture again. For all of you millennials out there who had digital cameras. So I see a woman, I shit you not, standing in front of me with long brown hair and a long white gown, and she's going like, where are you going? Like confused. So I see this on my screen and I'm like, what the fuck? And then as soon as it clears, I'm like, so guys, stop. And we go to review it, the picture, and the picture had a gigantic white ball orb where the woman was that I saw when I like looked down briefly.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was intense. And then to top it all off, that was not the end of our night for ghost hunting. We went to a couple other locations.
That same night?
Yeah. Yeah. We were
wild.
We do still love ghost hunting, and we do still run into spirits and enjoy it, but it's very intense and it's exhausting.
It's tricky too. It's tricky business. Anyway, who's next?
I'll go next. Yes. So, the place that I'm going to talk about today is the Tahoe Biltmore Hotel in Lake Tahoe, California, Nevada. So, unfortunately, they are in the process of demolishing this location. It's a casino hotel, and it's been around since like 1926 was when it was first built. And it has had a bunch of different names and a bunch of different owners. So interesting already, kind of like not a very good investment because it's had so many name changes and owners throughout the almost 100 years that it's been around. And everyone that's bought it has tried to reinvent it as like an even better casino, an even better place, but to no demise, unfortunately. So we went there with as like a weekend paranormal thing. So it's called ParaExperience, and we went in 2021. And we didn't actually stay at the Biltmore. We stayed at a hotel a few miles away, but it was like kind of like a convention where a bunch of different paranormal investigators came together, and it was just super fun. We got to meet a bunch of creators that are on YouTube that have their own shows that we follow and stuff. So it was really interesting, and that's actually where we met Patty Negri. So super cool stuff, and we got to investigate with everyone. It was really cool. But a little background on it. So it was built in 1926, and it was built, really the guy that first created it for like his friends and family. Like he was like, I just want to have like a fun place for my friends and family to be. And he named it the Cal Neva, because it's like California and Nevada. It's literally like right in the middle of those areas.
Pretty dope, not gonna lie.
Yeah. So over the years, it has had a lot of famous people, that have gone there. Right before it ended up burning down in 1937, I think. And right before it burned down, a woman that you might know performed there and got her record deal there by MGM, and that would be Judy Garland. So she was actually discovered at what is now known as the Tahoe Biltmore. So after it burnt down and got rebuilt in 1960, Frank Sinatra bought it. Pretty cool. And his whole idea was that he wanted to make this really like really fancy sha casino place, whatever. But what's interesting is that he had a lot of underground tunnels built to lead from the Biltmore to like the bungalows and other housing outside of it, so they could go through the tunnels and not be seen by paparazzi. Weird. Yeah.
I just
That's
like
kinda cool.
tunnels.
It is cool. Yeah, tunnels are creepy, but the tunnels were actually like carpeted, and he tried to make them nice, right?
Oh.
But there was a lot of notable celebrities that would stay there when he owned it. A couple off the top of my head, JFK and Marilyn Monroe were frequents there. Marilyn
Yikes and
Monroe,
doodle.
yeah, she actually spent her last weekend alive at the Biltmore. Yeah, I just thought that was wild. I was like, ah. So there's actually a picture of her at the Biltmore the last weekend that she was alive.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of like weird rumors, like, oh, somebody saw Marilyn Monroe and JFK like hooking up in the tunnels, but it's been disproven. So who knows?
Yeesh.
But it's very interesting. So unfortunately, while Frank Sinatra owned it, I don't know how to say this nicely. I love Frank Sinatra. When we went there, I was like feeling the vibes. I was like, oh my gosh, there was a point where we went into yeah. There was a point where we went into his old office and we sat down at their table there, and I was playing.
He was
Frank
absolutely
Sinatra.
a mob boss, I feel.
Yeah. So unfortunately, he was friends with some
Not so good
mafia type of people. And one of the most notable ones, I'm going to butcher his name, so don't come for me, Sam Giancana, and he's otherwise known as the actual Godfather. Like, that was kind of his title.
Like the OG Godfather? Or
yeah. What? So he's known for being in charge of at least 200 murders, like sending them off. So they actually caught him. I think he's been arrested like 76 times, or he was like crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is a big time mafia mobster guy. And he was actually caught in August of 1963 at the Biltmore, and he was, arrested at that time. So when the authorities discovered Giancana there was a lot of pressure on Frank Sinatra at the time to sell it. They were like, this is a bad look for you. Look who just got caught here. And he had a lot of pressure that in October of 1963, he did end up selling it. So,
wow.
Don't know what happened, but we do know, because we went there, that there were actually lookout spots in different parts of the hotel, like in the attic and the rafters, where there was a telephone at a lookout spot next to a window, and they would call down when they saw cops coming. So we don't know what was all going on there. It's pretty interesting, and I love history, and that place is a historical landmark, and it is a shame that they are tearing it down. They're like putting in like apartments and stuff in its place, so it kind of sucks.
They're gonna put apartments on top of the hotel?
Yeah.
That's scary.
So, but it's a really great location of the hotel, which is why so many people have wanted to buy it and have their business there, because it's like smack dab in the middle of Tahoe, and it has beautiful views. But unfortunately, when we went there, I mean, it was when we went there, huh?
I was being funny.
Yeah, thanks. When we went there in October, was it October or November?
October.
Yeah, when we went there for ParaExperience in October, we didn't stay there, but it was definitely a little run down. It was a little like, I think it has like 2.5 stars out of 5 to be able to stay there. But the cool thing about it is the history of it. I mean, that's what's amazing to me. There are a lot of spirits in that hotel. One that's most notable is Mary, and she kind of started popping up in the 60s. She's often seen in like a red mini skirt that's like placed in the 60s, and she is heard with her feet walking down the hallway or like rustling in different places, and different staff that have that worked there have seen her, and a lot of different paranormal teams that have done investigations there have seen her. So that's a little background on the Tahoe. It's very interesting. It's just like, I love history. I'm a total geek for it. So I was just geeking out the whole time. But what was really cool was that we got to do a ton of investigations all throughout the Biltmore. So we got to do a lot of investigations around the whole hotel, but one that was really cool was in the attic, like in the rafters. So we go up there, we've got all this equipment set up, and there's like a huge group of us up there. And it was overwhelming, the energy up there. It was intense, it was creepy. But a lot of different things. We felt different things. I felt someone grabbing my leg multiple times, and it wasn't a person. Like, I made sure I stepped over and like back further into the rafters where I was like more alone, but I was next to a device that would let you know if spirits were near. It would like change colors and beep and stuff. So I go over there, and then I hear movement in the back, and I'm like kind of like trying to look like what the heck is going on, and I'm like, come forward, and you can feel the rafter that I'm on moving, and I'm like, I mean, like my heart's beating, but I wasn't scared. I was like come forward, like touch this device, do show yourself basically. And at one point I did feel them like grab my leg, like around my calf and my shin, and I was like, you're gonna grab my leg? Like, hit the device. Like, I can feel it, and I know you're trying to interact with me, but I want like solid proof. I'm like, come on, like we're trying to get evidence here, But it was amazing. So at one point we go upstairs and we're like getting snacks and stuff out of one of the rooms, and we're like talking, and it's like there's just a weird vibe. It's like eerie, it's creepy, and the lights were being weird. Like, we tried to turn them on in the room with like a couch so that we could sit down and eat the pizza, and they wouldn't turn on. And we're like, this is weird. Okay. And then they started flickering in the other room. So we end up leaving that room to go back downstairs. And one of the people that was there investigating comes out, and he's like, my wife was trying to like lay down, and all the lights went out in her room. And then they're like acting funky, and the electrical's being weird. And then we're like, oh, that's weird. That just happened in that room too. We're walking down a little bit, and there's workers there that are like, yeah, we're having like electrical issues. So could it just be that it's an old hotel and who knows what's going on? I don't know. But it was very interesting that we caught those like vibes and those feelings, and that was happening. Brittany and I kind of left the convention a few times to go investigate on our own. And we went like around the building and like up to where like the other areas are, like the bungalow type thing, the other housing areas are. And there was definitely some intense like heavy feelings. And so when they actually told us that it had been bought out and they were planning on demolishing it, the first thing me and Brittany thought were like, look, where are these spirits going to go? Like, that's some freaky stuff. And what I think is interesting is that the demolition, it's been scheduled a few times this year because it was supposed to happen in May. It still hasn't happened. They're still pushing it off. So the Biltmore itself is closed. It's closed down. You can't stay there right now. They had like their last hurrah party in April of 2022, and the demolition was supposed to start in May. From all of the research I did trying to figure out, did it start yet? Like, when is the projected start date? Even the website itself for like the Biltmore revitalization or whatever, it's saying that it still hasn't happened, and it's probably going to get pushed off to 2023. So is that a spiritual thing? Is that a money thing? Is that a protesting thing? I don't know, because there are a lot of people that are protesting them tearing it down because it's a historical landmark. What's actually really funny too is at one point, the first night we were there, we're driving to the Biltmore, and I get pulled over, and I'm like, what am I getting pulled over for? What the heck? So I pull into the parking lot and I park. I roll my windows down, and I'm like, he's like, do you know why I pulled you over? And I'm like, I have no idea, dude. Like, we're trying to do this like ghost adventure, ghost hunting thing here, and you're screwing it all up. What did I do? And he's like, you're here for like a paranormal thing? And I'm like, yes, there's like a huge convention happening, and we're trying to go ghost hunt. And I was like, what did I do? And he was like, well, all I saw was you like driving a little fast and then you whip into the Biltmore. This has been known forever as being like a mobster place, a drug deal place. Like nothing good happens here. Yeah, like nothing good happens in the Biltmore. So you have tinted windows, you're pulling in fast. I'm just assuming he thought I had drugs or something. And I'm like, no, I'm a fucking nerd. I'm trying to go find some ghosts. Like, what the heck? So he was like, okay, like, my bad. Which I thought was funny because it's like, even now in 2020, well, then in 2021, it still has the reputation for the law enforcement in the area of being like a skeevy place where crimes happen. So
That's crazy.
It's just amazing. So if they do end up tearing it down, it is going to be a huge bummer because we can never go back there, and it was just a once in a lifetime experience for us. There's people that have been there multiple times, obviously, but it's just an amazing place, and I thought it was super duper cool. And we got to ghost hunt, I mean, with a bunch of people that we watched on YouTube forever, and it was just amazing. And Patty, we got to have her investigate with us, and it was just super cool. So it was a really fun weekend.
No, you kept saying amazing, that place was amazing. That place was spooky as fuck, Kayla.
Okay, I thought it was amazing. It was spooky. There was definitely like a heavy energy is the kind of the best way I can describe it. And like some shady shit happened. Like you just know when you walk in. But it was amazing. It was like the coolest. Well, it was one of the coolest places that we've investigated, for sure.
Yeah.
The history behind it is what makes me think it was amazing. And I love Frank Sinatra. Like,
me too.
Yeah, so being able to be where he was and like, oh my gosh, like we're sitting in where he had his conferences and I'm playing his music and I'm like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. It was amazing to me. I thought it was. But yeah, it was spooky as hell. It was scary.
Yeah.
When we were we went in one of the hotel rooms that's noted for having a lot of ghostly activity there. And there was a point where we all went into the bathroom at different points to try to like feel the energy and like what's going on. And there was definitely a moment where I felt like there was a male that was violent towards a female in that small bathroom. And it was overwhelming. And, the chills are everywhere. It was definitely scary. I'm not saying all aspects of ghost investigating is fun and exciting. It is. But I'm not saying that it's like not scary. Like maybe 80% of the time I am scared. It is scary. You don't know what you're in contact with. You don't know even if they say their name, if they're actually that person. And you don't know what their thought process is. So it is scary. Definitely approach with caution anytime you do investigating. But I will say it's an experience that you cannot have doing anything else. And it's amazing to me. I think so. Have you ever ghost hunted?
No.
Except in your house.
Yeah, I've been in my house and I've gone to like one spooky location, but I wasn't like very good at doing the ghost hunting, if that makes sense.
It doesn't. Explain yourself.
Okay, so my place is in Ohio, called the Golden Lamb, and it's in Lebanon, Ohio. And it's been around for like 215 years. So it's like a pretty old building and it's beautiful. So I went to it, right?
215?
Yeah.
Damn.
Damn.
Yeah. So this place is a restaurant and a hotel. So like they're two to combine, and they're known for the restaurant and their hotel. And it's very commonly known that this place is a ghost visitor place. Like ghosts like to go and visit there all the time. So like not only does it have like visitors from all over, like it also has like spirit visitors.
Oh, that's so cool.
So this place is known for like popular people even dying in this place. Like one of them, his name is Clement L. Vallandigham. Did I say it wrong?
I don't know. Vallandigham?
Vallandigham.
Dingham.
And he was a celebrated Civil War era U.S. congressman, and he shot himself. Supposedly by accident, though.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's another one, and he was Justin Charles R. Sherman. He was a Ohio Supreme Court justice, and he suddenly died at 41 there while he was staying.
41. I was going to say natural causes.
While he was 41. Yeah.
That
You don't say
sounds.
how?
Oh God.
So 2 notable government men have both accidentally died there.
Yeah.
I call baloney.
There's like other deaths like that too. Like people just like died there. And then there's this thing about how there's a little girl in the hallway. Because there was like a girl that grew up there.
Oh boy.
Grew up living there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is kind of crazy. But so like this place is like for sure like it has ghosts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna knock the ghost. So when we went into it, it was my brother and like a group, 2 other people, and we were driving, and my brother's like, "Oh, like this is like a haunted place," and I was like, "Let's just check it out," you know?
I love it already.
So my brother had been there, but I hadn't, right? And I was like, "All right, let's go in." So we're like walking to the front, and like it seems regular. It's old, like you could tell it's old, but it's still pretty, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And when you walk in, like there's obviously human people, like you can see like a lobby and like a restaurant, right? And there's like people sitting, and we like open the door, and like the humans like didn't really like they're doing their thing, like they didn't acknowledge us, right?
The humans.
But it felt like so many people were looking at us when like nobody was, and like
I know
just
that
felt like
feeling.
watched. Yeah. So like you're allowed to go upstairs because like if someone's not in the room, they have the doors open so you can see into it. So it's pretty cool. And when you get in, there's like staircase to the hotel, like the hotel part. And as we started to get a little into like the higher levels, it just started to feel like more and like more creepier. Like, and like more eyes were on you, and like that same thing where like you felt like people were walking alongside you.
That
like
crowded feeling.
Yeah. And like some of the doors that were open, it was me and this friend, and we were like looking in to the room, and out of the corner of our eyes, like we see the light start to like go on. And then we're like, and we're like, Vince, like, come here, like, come look at this. And when he gets there, it stops doing it. And I was like, you bitch.
You weren't recording, were you?
No. I didn't.
What do I tell you, people?
Know to at the time.
I know.
And then
damn.
The stairs were kind of spiral, but it was like a spiral where like it goes up, up, and then there's the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And like in a little square stair.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I get it.
A little square stair. We got it. We're on board.
Mm-hmm.
And at the top, there was always a room there. Like there's always like a door close to the stairs. So as we started to get up, like they started to rattle a little bit, like and a little bit more, and I was like,
That's amazing.
But yeah, we didn't stay there long because the other 2 people that we were with were like, oh, like we need to get out of here. And me and my brother were like, no, like it's chill. But
you and your brother?
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of creeps right there. Ready to be like, no, let's get a room for the night. Let's see some creepy shit.
But yeah, you can definitely feel like the spirits there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ohio. Let's go take a trip.
I'm in.
Let's go see your brother and make him go back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
For you spooky listeners, twisted listeners, now you have 3 places to go and visit.
Well, the Biltmore.
Well, they have till 2023.
Right. I mean, you can try and break in, I guess.
We just
don't do that. We're not saying that. I know. No, don't do that. Just do it. Don't listen to Alex.
But
do you
have a good time, or do you want to miss out?
Wow.
But you can go to the area. Like I said, the outside of it it's haunted too. And once they demolish it, where are the spirits gonna go? We don't know. So
damn.
Maybe they'll inhabit where, most likely they'll inhabit the land still.
So
Or they'll
whatever
come to
they-
Brittany. I don't
Whatever
know.
they built.
Alrighty, so we are going to look into our hard drive and see what exact footage we have from our ghost hunting experiences, and we will post those over on the Instagram. In the meantime, in the description box, we're going to tag a few people that we met up with and ghost hunted with at Paraflex from last year. We're also going to go ahead and tag Patty Negri again, just in case you guys want to look into more of her courses, things like that she brings to the table in regards to everything paranormal, magical, things like that.
And thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. But we do want to hear all of your ghost stories, like all of them.
Yes.
Look at me, all of them.
All of them. Yes. So if you guys have ghost stories that you want us to talk about or you want to share with us, we love this. So please send us a message on Instagram at _3 Twisted Sisters. Follow our TikTok at _3 Twisted Sisters. Comment below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're not, our YouTube is 3 Twisted Sisters Podcast. You can send us an email at 3 Twisted Sisters Podcast at gmail.com. We want to hear all of your stories. Let us know. We love this stuff. Thank you guys so much for listening to our fun stories.
Yes, we love making episodes like this for you guys and would love to have a episode featured just for our listeners and just reading off your guys' stories and getting to know you guys a little bit better. That would be super cool. Anyway, also, if you have any topic suggestions, definitely send us a comment, send us a message, something like that. Anyway, everybody, we hope you have a wonderful week. We hope that you take care and you stay twisted. Bye.
Bye.